Joining us now, Ian Pryor, Republican strategist and communications director for American Crossroads, and Chuck Rocha, a Democratic strategist. Chuck, to you first. How concerned are you that union members might pull the lever or punch the hole for Donald Trump?
I think there's room for concern. I think when you see Donald Trump talking about trade, talking about outsourcing jobs, it's a lot of the same mantra that you'll hear Richard Trump talking about. I think their solutions are very different, but this is nothing new in the labor movement. You've seen union members who thought the same thing with Ross Perot, and who would forget those blue-collar workers who liked Ronald Reagan. So I think the unions are smart to be out there talking about this. They're putting together money, but they're trying to expose the other side of Donald Trump, which is him being for right to work and also being against collective bargaining, and that's the issues they're going to be highlighting.
Ian, you're coming at this from the Republican point of view. If you presume that Hillary Clinton is going to be the Democratic nominee, and it's Donald Trump on the it's Donald Trump on the Republican side. We don't know that yet, but how do you stack up those two candidates? I mean, which one appeals more to the union vote?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think if it ends up being Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, instead of having a traditional Republican versus Democrat election, I think what you have is an outsider versus an insider election. Hillary Clinton being the ultimate Washington, D.C. insider, and Donald Trump, of course, being the outsider. That's something that is going to help Trump speak to union workers and blue-collar workers who for 20 years have seen their long-term economic prospects diminish, and they look at the Washington class, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, and they're holding them responsible. So when you have Hillary Clinton supporting NAFTA, when you have Hillary Clinton speaking highly of outsourcing, of supporting TPP, that's going to be a real liability, and voters going to the polls in November are less concerned about what party you are and more concerned about whether you're outside of Washington or whether you're inside of Washington.
Senator Ted Cruz did a takedown of Donald Trump's tariff threats during the Republican debate last night. But, Chuck, I'm not sure if it was effective, and I'm not sure if it matters to union voters. When Trump says, make America great again, I think they're saying, you know, yeah, let's start spitting out iron and Chevys and Fords and so forth from Detroit like we used to do.
You know, I run campaigns for a living, and it's brilliant the way that you see this guy out there talking about this stuff. You don't have to back any of it up. And people forget. They're like, well, what about this plan? And I need to see the details of this plan. Your average voter, you'll have their focus for maybe like 30 seconds. And if all you have is a tagline, that will take you to a certain point. The great thing about the unions is they're the best messenger for their own members. They have the credibility. They're a trusted messenger. And it's historic the way that they're able to get their members out. I think there'll be a lot of money and resources put into educating them on Donald Trump's anti-labor stances.
So, Ian, does that leave you concerned that union votes are, not only union votes, but union money are going to be allied against whoever the Republicans nominate?
No, you know, I really don't think so, because I think ultimately union leadership is part of the inside class. And I think, you know, rank-and-file labor members are going to be voting for who they want, not necessarily who their labor bosses tell them to vote for. And I think it's telling that UAW and AFL-CIO did not endorse in the Democratic primary before Michigan, at least, because they know if they give their stamp of approval to Hillary Clinton, that marks her as the establishment inside class, and that would only help Bernie Sanders.
Ian Pryor and Chuck Rocha, good discussion. We'll see what happens. Thank you both. Back with more happening now in just a moment.